Collecting treasures can enhance oneself. Jason's machete, Freddy's claws, Headless Knight's battle axe, Book of Death, Sun Scripture, Bible of the Dead, Stone of Fate, Stone of the Wise, Lance of Rankinus, Wheel of Archimedes. Immortality, slaying, magic, time, and fate are all controlled by him one by one. Keywords of the novel. Collectors of Meizong World without pop-ups, Collectors of Meizong World. Download the complete TXT collection, and the latest chapters for Collectors of Meizong World. Chapter 1. Hunting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Hunting at dusk. On the street corner of the city, there is an antique shop. Lu Xiaojing was half lying on the chair playing with his phone, feeling bored. Looking out the window from the corner of my perspective, the sunset is setting in the west. Another day without business. Lu Xiao shook his head with a hint of helplessness, then got up and moved his body to prepare something to eat. At this moment, two black youths with dirty braids walked in. "Welcome, feel free to take a look." Lu Xiao greeted him insincerely and continued to open the refrigerator to find something to eat. Two black youths first looked around and found no surveillance footage. The two looked at each other, and then one of the young men suddenly took out something from his arms, a revolver. "Hey, you, raise your hand and hand over the money." Lu Xiao. If I raise my hand, it seems like I won't be able to give you the money, so. Fuck, shut up and give me the money, right away, the two young men roared irritably. Seeing the other person feeling a little excited, Lu Xiao stopped stimulating them. Okay, then quickly opened the cashier and withdrew all the change inside. Fuck, there's only so much. Are you playing with me? Are you playing with me? That's all. Two young black people suddenly became excited. Because the money that Lu Xiao took out was only over $30 in total. Although there are many people on the street who rob $3 to $5 with guns. But this store is the big target they specifically chose. Although this street may not be considered a golden section, it is still quite bustling. Unfortunately, according to their observation, all other stores have surveillance cameras, except for the one on the street corner. A single Asian youth guarding a 50-square-meter antique shop. This is simply a perfect robbery target. Their psychological expectations are over $500. However, there's only so much, I swear. I haven't had any business here for a month. Fuck you, yellow-skinned monkey, dare you lie to me? Do you think I'm easy to lie to? Ah. Fuck you. The young man with a gun became increasingly irritable. His eyes were bloodshot and his gaze was fierce, clearly drugged. Lu Xiao suddenly felt uneasy. Before any action could be made, the young man holding the gun, feeling excited, had already pressed his finger on the trigger. Bang! Lu Xiao lowered his head to look at his chest, where blood was gushing out. He only felt the strength of his whole body quickly dissipate. I slipped uncontrollably and fell to the ground. Seeing Lu Xiao fall to the ground, the two young people fell silent for a while. Then there was a burst of profanity starting with F. Fuck, you killed him. We are here to rob. You killed him, his mother. Do you know what you are doing? At this moment, the young man who fired also reacted. They are not the kind of ruthless characters who dare to rob banks and engage in gunfights with the police. Just a little thug who can't survive on the streets. After the passionate murder, the whole person panicked. Fuck, I just wanted to scare him, really I stepped on the horse, just wanted to scare him. I didn't mean to, fuck. We need to leave here. Someone might have heard the gunshots just now. Hurry up, there's no surveillance here, no one sees us, run quickly. Two black youths ran away without even taking the change from the table. Soon, the antique shop was left with only Lu Xiao's body. He seems to have not died yet, his body occasionally wriggling. Still muttering something unclear in his mouth. The bullet pierced his chest. But it didn't hit the heart. In fact, if taken to the hospital in a timely manner at this time, there is a high probability that he can be saved. Unfortunately, the two young people were scared out of their wits and never thought of the possibility of saving him. Of course, even if they think of it, they probably won't save it. And this led to an extremely tragic consequence, which is that he will not die temporarily. But blood will pour into his lungs from the wound, causing him immense pain and an endless sense of suffocation. Severe coughing can temporarily slow down suffocation, and then blood rushes back into the lungs. This cycle may last for 1 to 2 hours before he can completely die. Just as Lu Xiao was suffering in pain, the door opened. An old man walked in. "God, are you okay, Lu?" Cough, cough, cough. Lu Xiao glared angrily. "Okay, it doesn't seem very good. Do you need any help?" Cough, cough, cough. "It seems necessary. Let me see if there's anything I can use." "That's almost it." The old man wandered around and found a two-handed sword on the shelf. The style is a two-handed sword from ancient Europe. He walked over with his big sword and skillfully gestured around Lu Xiao's neck twice. "Hold on, it will get better soon. Damn it, why am I used to this kind of thing? Drink." With a loud roar, Lu Xiao completely lost his voice. The old man casually hung the big sword back to its original position. Then he took off his blood-splattered jacket, walked out of the store on his own, and casually locked the door of the store. Everything feels like nothing has happened. Until midnight approaches. The old man carried some things again and walked into Lu Xiao's shop. As soon as I entered the door, I saw Lu Xiao getting up from the ground. On his chest clothes, there were still holes left after the gunshot, as well as dried blood stains. But at this point, the wound was no longer visible. The strangest thing is that the old man saw this scene without any sense of shock. But instead, he put the things in his hand on the counter on his own. "It's much faster than I thought. I thought it would take you at least half an hour to resurrect. Damn it, can you give me a hand, Abel? These damn niggers. Although I agree with you to some extent, it's best for you to keep your voice down. Those guys have become more high-profile in recent years," Abel said as he helped him up and sat in front of the counter. After a brief hellish conversation, Lu Xiao stood up and sat at the counter, picking up the food brought by Abel and eating it. After each resurrection, he feels very weak and needs a lot of food to replenish. Seeing him eating happily, the old man took out some spray on his own and started cleaning up the bloodstains on the ground. When Lu Xiao finished eating, Abel also completed the cleaning work. Then he took out 2 bottles of beer from the refrigerator behind Lu Xiao, opened it, and handed him a bottle. "I just don't understand. If you want to adapt to this ability, why don't you do it yourself?" Abe was drinking beer while roast about Lu Xiao. "The question is simple, I'm afraid of death. And then again, will your father come by himself?" Normally not, Abel opened his mouth, but found himself somewhat speechless. After all, no one is afraid of death. It's a bit like a resurrected person saying these things, is it average? So it's already done. Well, sometimes he does. I remember the last time he tried taking it himself to verify the symptoms of a toxin entering the human body. There have been similar incidents before, but very few. In short, I cannot understand the psychology of you resurrected beings. My dad has been so many years, I can't even understand. He is a ruthless person, Lu Xiao sincerely expressed admiration. No, he can't compare to you, Abel said as he looked out the window. It's getting late, I won't disturb your hunting, he said, finishing his last sip of beer and getting up to walk out. Good night, Abel. Happy hunting, Lu. Seeing Abel leave, Lu Xiao stood up and opened the door leading to the basement behind him. The basement is very spacious, with only a few miscellaneous items inside. There are 2 things hanging on the wall opposite the door, and below is a large machete about 50 centimeters long. Above the machete is a pale hockey mask. After standing in front of the mask and observing for a while, Lu Xiao reached out and took off the mask, then put it on his face. Upload new books, seek collection, seek follow. Up reading, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. Old Friends. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 2. Old Friends. There were two deceased, and the weapon was a knife. To be more precise, it was some kind of large machete. The killer's strength was very strong, and he only used one knife to cut off the deceased's head. For more detailed information, I need to go back and do a detailed examination. At the scene of a murder, a forensic doctor is having a conversation with a female police officer. Is there any information you can tell me now, Henry? You've always seen more, tell me. The forensic doctor named Henry looked at the policewoman in front of him with a hint of helplessness. Well, the only thing I can tell you about this case is that the perpetrator is very dangerous. He is professional, indifferent, and ruthless. Looking at the surrounding arrangements, the deceased should have sensed something. They have made some preparations, perhaps preparing to escape or something like that. But it didn't have any effect. The killer found them and then dealt them two deadly blows with clean and sharp hands. Both victims were physically strong young men, but there were no signs of fighting at the scene. This indicates that they have no reaction ability in front of the killer. Officer John, if you want to investigate this case, you must be careful. The killer may be more dangerous than imagined, so, it's a professional killer. Professional assassins who use machetes are not common in this city. Upon hearing the words, machete, Henry's eyes changed slightly. Very subtle, not noticed by the police officer in front of me. All right, I'm going back to work. Bye, Henry. Bye, Officer John. Looking at the back of Henry leaving. Officer John turned around and focused his attention on the case. After Henry left the scene, he immediately took out his phone and made a call. Hi, Abel. Hi, Dad. Did you see Lou yesterday? Oh, I'm sorry I forgot to tell you. I saw him yesterday, last night. I knew it. Can you? Hey, Dad. I need to make it clear to you first. Yesterday was those two guys who moved their hands first. They fired a shot in Lou's chest. If I hadn't heard the commotion and rushed over, he might have suffered for 2 hours before dying. So, although I don't really agree with his approach, I can understand. Because if someone shoots at me, I will not hesitate to make the same choice as Lou, okay? Henry hung up the phone with some helplessness. He just called to confirm. In fact, he cannot really report such a thing. Who made him an undisclosed existence? Abel, who hung up the phone, shrugged in front of Lu Xiao. The case was taken over by Dad. Don't worry, there won't be any problems. I know. Lu Xiao didn't care about it. When he put on his hockey mask and held his machete, he inherited Jason's power completely. Killing two young people is as easy as ever. And at that time, he was completely a different kind of existence. It's strange that the police can find out about themselves. Henry is still burying his head in eating. It's Chinese food, but it was improved by Lu Xiao based on his taste. In fact, authentic Chinese cuisine is not suitable for the taste of Americans. So, when entertaining friends, Lu Xiao usually uses improved dishes. Lu, your skills are getting better and better. Although I have said it many times, I still want to say again that you should open a restaurant, not an antique shop. I learned from you. It doesn't make sense that you can earn money, I can't. That's right, Abel also runs an antique shop. And it's right across from Lu Xiao. However, Abel's antique shop can be said to be somewhat famous, but the key is that he has a lot of genuine goods in his hands. You can forget it, take a look at this pile of junk in your store. Since opening the store, there has never been anything that can be called an antique in your store. Also, why don't you clean up the blood on that sword? Abel pointed to the sword that had chopped off Lu Xiao's head last night and said. He forgot to clean up yesterday, thinking that Lu Xiao would clean up on his own. As a result, this kid just hung there like that without moving. That one. I'm just going to make up a story for it to increase its value. Let's talk about the sword that King Arthur used back then. There's still blood left on it from the war. What do you think? I think King Arthur was a figure from over 1,000 years ago, and the blood on your sword is from over a day ago. So. It seems there's no hope left. After roast, Lu Xiao kept eating. But at this moment, his phone rang. Lu Xiao took out his phone, which displayed a familiar and unfamiliar person, Anna. It is said that he is familiar because he and Anna come from the same children's welfare institution. I grew up together since childhood. The reason for being unfamiliar is that the person Anna knew, Lu Xiao, had already died at the age of 15. Lu Xiao, the traveler, inherited the other party's memory. Shake your head and squeeze out the sudden flashback memories. Lu Xiao answered the phone. Hi Anna. Hi, Lu. Anna paused on the other end of the phone and then said. Lu, do you still remember Lucy? After thinking for a moment, Lu Xiao remembered a solitary figure. I remember you two were good friends, right? Did something happen? Lu, are you safe by your side? What I'm saying next cannot be heard by others. Lu Xiao glanced at Abel, who was buried in his work, and then said. I don't have anyone around me, let's talk. Abel across from him gave him a glance. Unfortunately, an old man in his 60s sitting here is completely unattractive and can only make it impossible for Lu Xiao to look directly at him. Lucy killed someone, we need help. Anna's words were simple and straightforward, leaving Lu Xiao stunned for a moment. Lu Xiao really wants to say that you should find the police for this kind of thing. But when it came to speaking, I still stopped. If it were someone else, they would hang up the phone directly and may even call the police directly. But Anna is still a bit different. According to my predecessor's memory, when I was in the welfare home. As one of the very few Asians in welfare homes. Lu Xiao's situation is extremely uncomfortable. Don't think that children in welfare institutions are the kind who love each other, are sensible and considerate. In fact, due to the lack of family education. Most children in welfare institutions have a somewhat bad personality. When a group of people with bad personalities gather together, it is natural for even worse consequences to erupt. Lu Xiao's predecessor had a somewhat solitary personality. In the United States, his personality, combined with his Asian identity, can be said to be a pile of debuffs. Therefore, life in a welfare institution can be described as a hot and bustling experience. And during this process, Anna was the only person who was friendly to her and genuinely helped him. Although later on, Lu Xiao's predecessor couldn't bear to be humiliated and committed suicide by taking medicine. Afterwards, there was a follow-up of Lu Xiao's journey through. Although my predecessor died, this friendship truly exists. And it also has an impact on the current Lu Xiao. So, Lu Xiao took a deep breath and then said. Anna, tell me where you are. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Collectors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Collectors. Putting a bag on the car, Lu roller coasted away from the antique shop. Abel was left alone to watch two antique shops. I really don't know how to respect the old and love the young. I will be 70 next year. Abe roast while quickly locking Lu Xiao's shop, and then went back to his shop. In the car, Lu Xiao followed Anna's instructions while driving. Glancing at the machete and mask on the passenger side. This thing is naturally one's own golden finger. Or rather, it is a manifestation of the golden finger. Lu Xiao's golden finger is called the collector system. As a cheat after Lu Xiao's crossing. The collector system can be considered one of the most hardcore cheats he has ever seen in the world of time travelers. The system requires him to collect some unique or sufficiently special things. What is considered unique or sufficiently special? Moreover, truly unique things cannot be obtained by young people in a welfare institution. After countless failures, Lu Xiao almost gave up on this golden finger. Until one day, he met Jason. The system finally gave a prompt that Jason's mask and machete are both qualified collectibles, and there is also a level division, level D. Lu Xiao suddenly realized that collectibles refer to this standard. However, although I know, it is still quite difficult to collect Jason's mask and machetes. As an ordinary person, how to defeat someone requires proficiency in cold weapons and tracking skills. And at the same time, there is an immortal body, a powerful living dead person. Lu Xiao naturally couldn't do it. So, he chose to hibernate. Utilize one's own information advantages. Lu Xiao returned to the city and made a large amount of money using things like the stock market and cryptocurrency. Then Lu Xiao hired a professional team with the money. Carrying a large amount of modern equipment, their dot entered the realm of Crystal Lake. Burning down Jason's mother's cabin led to a furious Jason. Jason from Crystal Lake, as one of the most famous serial killers in screen history, is actually not because he is so powerful. The reason behind this is that every time the story takes place in the deep mountain jungle of Crystal Lake. There are no police officers, the protagonist team has no weapons, all members are mentally disabled, and there is no resistance spirit. I only know how to scream and run away. Jason's combat effectiveness is certainly high, but he faces a modern team that knows all his characteristics and is well prepared. He still knelt without a doubt. Alloy chains and metal mesh crafted with heavy investment. He bundled Jason into Zongzi. Lu Xiao even had members of the hiring team chop off Jason's hands before appearing close to him. We can only chop off our hands, not kill them. Because killing this guy will bring him back to life with full health. After that, Lu Xiao finally succeeded in obtaining his first two collectibles, Jason's mask and a machete. Thus, he unlocked the true function of the golden finger. After collecting two items, he can extract a special ability from Jason. As a result, Lu Xiao obtained Jason's resurrection ability. And if you want to get all of Jason's abilities, you can actually do it. Just put on a mask and hold a machete in your hand. The mask endows Lu Xiao with the effects of rapid wound recovery, rapid resurrection, immunity to pain, and strength enhancement. Without wearing a mask, Lu Xiao needs to be resurrected at midnight. This seems to be due to his human body's inability to fully match the abilities of Jason's undead body. But if you wear a mask, it's completely different. He can be nailed to the wall with steel bars like Jason. Resurrected with full health in a few minutes. As for the machete, it endows Lu Xiao with a powerful talent for cold weapons and tracking ability. This is also Jason's signature ability. The main characters in those movies cannot escape Jason's pursuit because this guy is a top tracking expert. In fact, Jason's commonly used weapon is also a bow and arrow. It's just that there may be too few shots and a lack of iconic features. Bows and arrows have not been recognized as collectibles. Return to reality from a perspective. Under Anna's guidance, Lu Xiao arrived at a villa area in the suburbs. This location is somewhat remote and there are not many neighbors around. No wonder Anna and the others have not been discovered so far. Anna, I'm here. Open the door. As Lu Xiao spoke, he put on his mask and machete. He also pinned a Glock pistol to his waist. Then I drove into the villa area. There's no way, although I believe Anna, it's better to be careful about this kind of thing. After entering the villa, he saw a young girl running out of the room, it was Anna. Looking around, no one else was found. Lu Xiao took off his mask to avoid scaring the girl. Lu, thank goodness. You're finally here. I'm sorry, I really don't know what to do. Come with me. Lu Xiao followed Anna into the house and saw another young girl curled up on the sofa in the corner, her eyes lifeless and her whole body like a walking corpse. The girl has a noticeable scar at the corner of her eye, which is the same lonely girl as herself, Lucy. Just Lucy is different from Lu Xiao. Lu Xiao's loneliness is partly due to innate personality factors. But Lucy is different, she is a victim of a kidnapping case. And during the kidnapping process, Lucy suffered inhumane torture. This led to a complete mental breakdown of the girl. She completely closed herself off and didn't communicate with anyone. During her time at the welfare home, only Anna successfully walked into her heart. Lucy has no parents, and the police ultimately did not catch the killer. This matter is also a wound in Lucy's heart that will never heal. In Lu Xiao's memory, he even felt that the girl had some mental issues. How is she? Not very good, my mind is on the verge of collapse. But we have more important issues to deal with now. Follow me. Anna said and walked into the bathroom with Lu Xiao. In the corner of the bathroom, there are 4 corpses piled up. An old couple, a boy aged 15 or 16, and a girl in her teens. It can only be said that Lucy is really ruthless. A teenage girl was shot from behind with a large caliber shotgun, and her spine was broken. 4 corpses, Lucy said. This is the family that kidnapped and tortured her back then. I'm not sure about this, so I really don't know what to do. Lu, I know you have experience, help me, help Lucy. Lu Xiao looked at Anna with a puzzled expression on his face. Okay, Lu. Don't think of me as a fool. A few years ago, after you recovered from a coma, you felt like a different person. After that, Jonathan, John, Alan, and Adrian disappeared one after another. I know you did it, Lu. Since then, I can feel that you have become very dangerous. I even feel a little afraid of you. Sorry, I'm not threatening you by saying this. I won't report you no matter what. You know, I don't have much evidence, and it's not at all. Alright Anna, I know you won't report me, but that time was different from this time. That time just as Lu Xiao was about to continue speaking, he suddenly heard the sound of a car braking from outside. Someone is here. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Farewell. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Farewell. Lu Xiao reached out and put the mask in his arms on his face. Then he picked up the nearby machete and walked out. Before leaving, he could already sense that there were 4 people outside. This is not sensitivity to the 5 senses, but a perception of the living. Jason is a living dead person, and his perception is actually different from that of a normal person. He is able to perceive the existence of the living to a certain extent. With the hunter's tracking ability, almost no one was able to escape from his subordinates. 4 people, 3 of them holding firearms, cautiously advancing. Lu Xiao paused for a moment and then walked out directly. The hockey mask worn by the battle-damaged Wind startled the 4 people in the living room. Fuck, one of them cursed inwardly. Then without hesitation, he shot Lu Xiao in the chest. The large-caliber shotgun threw Lu Xiao to the ground with a single shot. Then search inside without looking at it. What they didn't notice was that after they walked by, Lu Xiao slowly stood up from the ground. Looking down at the blood hole in my chest. Lu Xiao moved his neck and shoulders, then walked towards the few people in front with his machete. The person at the back heard the commotion, pulled out his pistol, turned around, and then saw Lu Xiao standing behind him. Before he could finish speaking, Lu Xiao's machete brushed over his neck. Pu Tong, Gu Lu Lu. The 3 of them quickly turned around, but it was already too late. They are really too close to Lu Xiao. Jason's melee ability is terrifying and has been tested countless times in movies. Generally speaking, normal humans are unlikely to engage in close combat with him. Taking a sudden step forward, Lu Xiao's 50-centimeter-long machete pierced through one of them's chest. Then he pushed the other person as a human shield and charged towards the other 2 people. The words, fuck, that start with F keep popping out. But it's not very useful for eggs. If profanity is useful, Jason has died countless times. After more than 10 seconds, there was only Lu Xiao standing on the scene. I casually pulled a towel and wiped my knife. Alright, it's okay, you can come out now. Anna timidly walked out of the room with Lucy and saw a bloody scene in the living room. Anna instinctively covered her mouth without making a sound. Lucy, on the other hand, had blank eyes and no change in expression. Lu Xiao looked at her and sighed with a hint of helplessness. It's hard for him to imagine what Lucy encountered when she was kidnapped back then. But obviously that experience completely killed the girl. The flames of revenge burned her completely, making her hysterical. And now, revenge is over. Through those blank and lifeless eyes, Lu Xiao could vaguely see. Behind that pair of mouths, there is a dying flame. This girl, time is running out. Oh my goodness, Lu. I came to you to help with the handling of 4 corpses. Now there are 4 more, and who are these people? What should we do? Anna is completely disoriented. Not to mention him, even Lu Xiao felt that things were a bit tricky. He is now beginning to realize that there may be some kind of insider information about Lucy's past. The 4 people who came were killed by Lu Xiao as if he were chopping vegetables and melons. But judging from their gun-holding posture and their willingness to kill without hesitation, these guys are definitely professionals. Now, the situation is actually a bit complicated. What kind of person is the deceased family? Why would such professionals come over to kill? Unfortunately, all 4 of them were ruthless in their actions. When Lu Xiao was in Jason's state, he also had a tendency to kill and killed everything without leaving any survivors. This makes it impossible for him to interrogate the truth. Just as Lu Xiao was thinking, Lucy on the sofa not far away suddenly collapsed. She hugged her head and curled up desperately, as if avoiding something. Anna hurriedly ran over to comfort. This is not the first time, she had a seizure before you came. It seems like she will see some kind of illusion. Anna explained while comforting Lucy. But Lu Xiao stared blankly at Lucy's back, muttering a sentence silently. It's not an illusion. In Lu Xiao's eyes, there was a blurry shadow behind Lucy. If nothing unexpected happens, it should be a ghost. Actually, Lu Xiao couldn't see this thing before. But probably because Jason himself is a living dead person. After gaining some of Jason's power, Lu Xiao also began to see something similar. In Lu Xiao's perspective, it was a ghost covered in bruises and naked. This made Lu Xiao couldn't help but glance at Lucy and vaguely understand something. Anna's comfort was of no effect. Lucy just curled up desperately to avoid herself, hoping to avoid the harassment of ghosts. But in Lu Xiao's eyes, that ghost actually had no intention of harming Lucy. And the other party is actually very weak. In Lucy's eyes, the current situation is already the limit. There is even a feeling of instability that is about to dissipate at any moment. He walked forward and took over Anna's comfort. Looking up at me, Lucy, I know what you're afraid of anymore. Believe me, she won't hurt you. Think carefully, you should have seen her many times, right? But you're still alive, she can't hurt you, believe me. Lucy lifted her head and looked at Lu Xiao with an incredible gaze. Can you see her? Maybe not as clear as you, but she's right there, right? Lu Xiao pointed in the direction where the ghost was. Then he saw a light shining in Lucy's eyes. You can really see, help me. Tell her, I didn't mean to. I was too scared at the time and couldn't save her. Help me tell her, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave her. These few sentences reveal a large amount of information. It turns out that when Lucy ran away, there was also a girl who was imprisoned with her. The girl asked for help from her, but Lucy was eager to escape, so she couldn't save her. This sense of guilt has been lingering in her heart, which is also why the ghost came to find her. There is a slight bond between them. Lucy, look at me. Listen to me, you didn't do anything wrong. You saved yourself, that's already a remarkable thing. Believe me, she didn't have any intention of blaming you. In my opinion, she might just want to say goodbye to you. So, face her, face your own inner nightmare. Lucy, take a closer look. Her time is running out. Perhaps this is your last meeting. Now, stand up and face her. Lucy lifted her face and looked at Lu Xiao in confusion. A bewildered expression flashed on his face. But with the encouragement of Lu Xiao, he slowly stood up and walked towards the ghost. As Lu Xiao said, the ghost has actually run out of oil and the lamp has dried up. According to Anna, she has been entangled with Lucy for over a decade. And now, perhaps seeing the cruel family die, the obsession has dissipated, and it has already begun to dissipate. Lucy slowly leaned forward and tentatively extended her hand. In her eyes, the terrifying ghost, covered in blood, suddenly became quiet. After a while, Lu Xiao saw clearly that the ghost also reached out and held hands with Lucy. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Destruction of Corpse and Trace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Destruction of Corpse and Trace. Lucy can no longer control her emotions. I couldn't help but burst into tears. Anna couldn't see all of this, but she could hear the emotions conveyed in Lucy's crying. For Lucy, being able to vent her emotions would be the best thing for her. Lu Xiao could also see that the light in Lucy's eyes was slightly brighter. At this moment, he saw Lucy nod. It seems that the ghost has conveyed some information to her. Then, under the gaze of Lu Xiao and Lucy, the ghost slowly dissipated and completely disappeared into the human world. Lucy's hand was still reaching out, and she looked ahead in confusion, as if she couldn't accept everything in front of her. However, after venting her emotions, Lucy seemed to be returning to normal. She was just lost for a while. I wiped away my tears for a moment, then took Lu Xiao and the two of them to a closet. After opening the closet, Lucy searched inside for a while and pulled a secret switch. The inside of the closet surprisingly opened, revealing a secret passage in the basement. At this moment, Lu Xiao's ears twitched. Immediately move forward and protect the two girls behind you. After a burst of hurried footsteps, a naked and blood-stained girl rushed out of the tunnel. Lu Xiao's face changed slightly. He put away his machete and reached out to embrace the other person. Anna and Lucy stepped forward together and pressed the girl onto the sofa. But there are too many injuries on the girl's body. Even a large area of skin has been peeled off from the body. The two dare not touch each other forcefully. Oh my God, what exactly is this place? What is this family, a twisted serial killer? Anna was also frightened by everything in front of her. I'm afraid there's more than that. You two keep an eye on her, I'll go in and take a look. Seeing the woman's struggle weaken, Lu Xiao let go and let Lucy and Anna watch her, while he put on a mask and walked into the underground passage. A few minutes later, Lu Xiao walked out. So, what's next? You wouldn't want to know. When Lu Xiao was wearing a Jason mask, his emotional interference would be minimized. However, even so, he still felt a dual discomfort in both mental and physical aspects. There are no living people below, Lu Xiao added. This silenced Anna and Lucy directly. If there are no living people, then there are dead people. The amount of information in these words made the two girls almost unable to think about it. How is she? Not very good, my mind seems to have broken down, Anna said as she stood up. Lu Xiao crouched down and looked into the girl's eyes. The other person's pupils are unfocused, their eyes are relaxed, and they are like a walking corpse. What's going on? It was just fine. I don't know, but after calming down, it's like this. At this moment, the girl who was originally silent and dull suddenly changed her gaze. Lu Xiao keenly noticed this. Wait a moment, she's conscious. Can you hear me? What's your name? Lu Xiao attempted to communicate with the other party. But the girl remained silent, her eyes fixed on one direction. Lu Xiao turned around and saw nothing but that direction. Looking at Lucy, she also said she didn't see anything. While the two were puzzled, the girl suddenly screamed in agony, while frantically grabbing her own skin. This time, Lu Xiao vaguely saw something. On the girl's body, something was crawling densely. In Lu Xiao's perspective, those things looked even more blurry than the ghost just now. There is only a faint shadow. But in the eyes of the girl, it doesn't seem like that. She struggled desperately, as if those insects were crazily gnawing at her body. Ah! The girl's mournful screams made the three people around shiver. It seems that he is really enduring some extreme punishment. But apart from Lu Xiao, the other two couldn't see anything. Help me, the girl looked at Lu Xiao's eyes as if she was talking about something. She tightly grasped Lu Xiao's hand. Lu Xiao knew what she was asking for, and his hand holding the knife trembled for a moment. At this moment, Anna and Lucy also reacted. At the same time, he turned his gaze to Lu Xiao. In Lu Xiao's vision, the number of those insects is rapidly increasing. It has completely covered the girl's body. Even got into her mouth, ears, and eyes. Her eyes became lifeless, although no new scars appeared. But she seemed to have been hurt and couldn't see anything. Her mouth was also hurt and she was powerless to speak. Only her hands are still desperately grabbing the landing sky. Damn it! After cursing the country, Lu Xiao raised his hand and stabbed the girl's heart with a knife. The living room once again became completely silent. Only the sound of blood dripping onto the ground. Lucy, who was originally slightly spirited, has once again become decadent. Lu Xiao himself also felt astonishingly suppressed in his heart. I wish I could wield a machete and slash around. But he also knows that this is not the time for depression and autism. The development of things is increasingly beyond imagination. I thought it was just a simple revenge against a twisted serial killer. Later it was discovered that it may not just be a serial killer, but rather some organized sadistic group. And now, everything that happened to the girl just now made him realize that the secret hidden behind him probably exceeded his imagination. Okay, I know you're feeling sad. But we've already wasted too much time. We need to do something serious now. The next wave of enemies will arrive at an unknown time. And it won't be 4 people coming anymore. We need to leave here as soon as possible. However, before leaving, Lu Xiao made a mistake by looking at the corpses on the ground. There are too many corpses, they have exceeded the limit he can handle. When Lu Xiao was in the welfare institution in his early years, he did similar things. But that time, he actually made a deal with the dean using some of the secrets from the welfare institution. Closing the work is not about doing it yourself. At present, there are 5 corpses in the living room. There are 4 more in the bathroom. There are indeed quite a few basements. After hesitating for a moment, Lu Xiao took out his phone and made a call. Hi, Henry. Hi, Lu. Is Abel on your side? I'm not sure. I'm outside right now. Listen, Henry, is it convenient for you now? I need your help with some things. The sound of Henry walking came from the phone. Alright, it's okay now. To be honest, your tone gave me a bad feeling. That's right, Henry. There's a very tricky matter. I have a few corpses here, but I don't know how to handle them. Listen to Lu, I'm a forensic doctor, not a scavenger. I'm responsible for inspecting corpses, not cleaning them up. No, listen to Henry. The situation is much more complicated and serious than you imagine. It's not just about me, but also about 2 innocent girls. You know, I'm not the kind of person who indiscriminately kills innocent people. A helpless sigh came from the other end of the phone. Okay, Lu. After that, you need to tell me everything in its entirety. Now, tell me how many corpses there are in total. 13. Fuck. End of this chapter. Chapter 6 is not yet over. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 is not yet over. In Lu Xiao's memory, Henry has always been the kind and elegant image of an old man. This is still the first time Lu Xiao has heard Henry use foul language. 13 corpses, Lu. Did you slaughter a gang? More serious than that. You can understand it as a twisted serial killer group. Okay, I believe you wouldn't lie about this kind of thing. Now tell me how many traces you left at the scene. Simply put, how many places you touched. Lu Xiao looked up and asked Anna. However, Anna could only shrug helplessly. Okay, maybe there are many places. What about the bloodstains? Everywhere. Henry on the other end of the phone fell silent. After a while, he spoke up. Lu, listen to me. In this situation, it's not something you can handle anymore. It requires at least 1 or 2 teams of scavengers to thoroughly handle it. How much time do you have now? I don't have time, I need to leave here immediately. Where are you? The suburbs to the west of the city. Great, that's within the jurisdiction of our bureau. Now, you go find more gasoline, the better. Sprinkle all the gasoline on the scene as much as possible, and then set fire. Setting fire. That's right, this is the most effective way to destroy traces in a short period of time. Flames will destroy most of the traces. When the police call the police, I will also inspect the body. So. I understand. I'll contact you later. Lu Xiao put down his phone and instructed Anna and Lucy to start collecting all the gasoline in the villa. The deceased family had a total of 2 cars. The later 4 people drove 2 cars. The gasoline from 4 cars poured all over the villa. And there was also a small problem during the process. When the 4 of them were oiling the bathroom, Anna was surprised to find that the mother of the family had not died. That shot didn't hit her heart, she's still struggling to survive. Upon seeing this scene, Lucy became furious and picked up a knife, ready to step forward to complete her unfinished revenge. And this time, Anna stopped her. Let me come, with so many corpses here, there must be my share. Lucy looked at Anna in a daze and then nodded. The 2 of them worked together to execute the last person. Then he started pouring gasoline all over the villa. When the flames ignited, the 3 of them had already left the estate in their cars. Returning to their own store, Abel and Henry were already waiting here. Upon seeing him return, Henry quickly stepped forward and saw the 2 girls behind Lu Xiao. Thank goodness, you have finally come back. Tell me, what exactly happened? Everything, word for word. 13 corpses, Henry knew the seriousness of the matter. If such a big matter is not handled properly, everyone present will never have peace. The situation is very complicated, starting from a kidnapping case over a decade ago. It took Lu Xiao and Anna Lucy about 20 minutes to fully explain the whole matter. After that, Henry and Abel also fell silent. After a long time, Abel spoke up. I thought the blood and flesh on the battlefield was the cruelest thing in this world. But the actions of certain humans always refresh my cognitive limits. This is not surprising, many things that have been done in human history are even more terrifying than this, Henry said thoughtfully. Lu Xiao saw the meaning of Henry's expression. Have you ever seen something similar, Henry? Henry hesitated for a moment, then nodded. If possible, I really don't want you to know that there is such darkness in the world. But unfortunately, this is a fact, and you are personally experienced. If I remember correctly, those people should belong to a cult organization called Martyrs. They believe in a strange doctrine, peering into another unknown world. They believe that in order to surpass the existing world, it is necessary to completely strip away the senses of the current world. Observe from a higher perspective, what does complete detachment of the senses from the present world mean? Anna asked with some unease. You already know. It's what they did to Lucy. Fuck, they torture people by making them lose their sense of reality and then go see the so-called unknowable world. So why don't they come on their own? So they are cults. I'm sorry Lucy, Henry sincerely apologized to Lucy. It was precisely because he knew about the brutality of those guys that he was able to understand what Lucy had experienced. It doesn't matter, I have already killed the person who hurt me with my own hands. If anyone else dares to appear in front of me, I won't be soft-hearted. Although I don't like killing and violence. But if it's those people, it's better to die. Being able to make the kind-hearted Henry speak such words is a testament to the position of the martyrs sect in his heart. What else do you know, Henry? We need more information. Sorry, I don't know much more. In my early years, I had a chance encounter with their existence. Then I immediately changed my identity. That was before I became a forensic doctor. You know my principles, I must stay away from these guys. Once they discover my secret, it will be a disaster. Lu Xiao understood Henry's approach. Henry is an immortal, as the name suggests, a person who is highly likely to live forever. He is now over 260 years old. Even after an accidental death, he was able to miraculously be reborn in the nearest waters. Once these two traits of immortality and resurrection are discovered by organizations with religious connotations, it is indeed a real disaster. Okay, now we know that the mastermind behind this is a cult. But we don't know much more. Henry, it's up to you. When the police intervene in this case, we need to know all the information. I will do my best. Alright, I need to go back to the police station to work now. Wait for my call, Lu. Henry left Lu Xiao's shop. Abel went out and bought some food for the two girls. Lu Xiao turned on the TV and began searching for news. Soon, the news reported on the wildfires in the suburbs. The firefighters have intervened, which means the police will soon receive the news. I'm waiting for Henry's call now. However, something strange happened, and there was no further news from Lu Xiaozhua and others. A large number of firefighters and journalists were present on the scene in the news, but there were no signs of the police appearing. A hint of ominous thoughts flashed in Lu Xiao's heart. Until evening, Henry finally called. I believe you have seen it, there are no corpses, no reports, it's just a fire. Someone has covered up all the truth. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Hardcore Systems. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 8. Unexpectedly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Unexpectedly. After delving deeper into this world, Lu Xiao discovered a problem. He is not the only one chasing these rare things. Lu Xiao, who stepped into the inner world with half his foot, first came into contact with a profession called treasure hunter. Most of these people are ordinary people, but they wander between reality and the inner world. Search for those rare, legendary, and even supernatural things. The inner world of this world. For many people, it's not a secret. So, whether it's the inner world or the real world, there are plenty of people buying these things. At first, Lu Xiao was worried that his behavior would be too conspicuous. But after entering the industry, I realized that I was just a rookie in this field. And because the entry time is too short, there is no credibility at all. So, most treasure hunters don't look for him even if they have goods. Lu Xiao also spent a lot of money to barely establish a relationship with several hunters. And those guys can only be said to be third-rate hunters. Several attempts to contact Lu Xiao resulted in counterfeit products. Not to mention collectibles, there is not even a thing that can be called an antique. Lu Xiao had already lost faith in them. But this time, the other party once again confidently said that they had really obtained something amazing. Even sent a picture to Lu Xiao. Lu Xiao opened it and found that it was a cylindrical glass container. The container looks very old and dirty, but it is intact with no signs of damage. There are also some obscure runes and similar things on it. The most crucial thing is what is inside the container. That thing turned out to be a human head. A withered and ugly head that knows not how many years have passed. Seeing the other party online, Lu Xiao typed directly to inquire. As a treasure hunter, is this the treasure you want to sell me? It seems that the other side has been waiting for his reply. I replied quickly. Don't get angry in a hurry, I promise it's definitely a good thing. I dug it up from a church cemetery that has been over 200 years old. Lu Xiao. Are you very proud of this? Treasure hunters are also segmented. To obtain treasures, one must either find them themselves or trade them with others. High-ranking individuals, or teams, delve into uninhabited places, explore ancient legendary relics, tombs, and the like. Even trading directly with the higher mysterious side of the underground world. At their level, what they get are truly good things. Any talisman or dagger on one's body often has an enchantment. That kind of model is basically not open for 3 years, only to open for 3 years, or to open for a banquet directly. Middle level, as a second-hand dealer, explore some less dangerous relics. Do some specious things to fool those stubborn customers. And the one opposite Lu Xiao is the bottom level among treasure hunters. These guys have neither the courage to hunt down dark creatures or the connections to trade with the mysterious side members of the underground world. Most of them have a barely making a living job. In my spare time, I play around and do some tricks to deceive people. That's right, it's just a scam. 99% of the so-called treasures obtained by these people are deceptive. When Lu Xiao first entered the industry, at least a dozen treasure hunters were selling him a silver cross that was said to have been used by a saint. If it weren't for the 10 or more identical crosses, Lu Xiao would have bought them one by one. The most common method these guys use is to dig graves. And it's digging a church grave. After the death of church members, they usually bury religious objects such as crosses and the Bible. If the deceased was a very devout church member during their lifetime, these religious items will have certain effects. The effect of warding off evil spirits or expelling new ghosts. But in reality, everyone knows the virtues of church personnel. There is no one among them who has this effect. In most cases, it's still a matter of deceiving one another. Sometimes Lu Xiao would wonder if these guys would silently recite God's blessings while digging the church cemetery. Just digging out a human head from the cemetery of the church, which surprised Lu Xiao. Bring it over to take a look when you have time. As long as it's real, I'll accept it. Lu Xiao lacked interest and casually responded to the other person, then ignored them and got up to sleep. At midnight, around the burnt-down villas in the suburbs, a group of unidentified individuals wearing black robes are gathering around. Do you have any clues? Not yet, the fire was too intense and almost destroyed all the clues. How did they die? Killed by a shotgun. Including the little girl. Yes. After a brief silence, one of the black-robed men said, I remember when Smith was in charge, a girl once escaped. Yes, it alarmed the police and media at the time and caused a big uproar. We were unable to clean her up. The first suspect was also her. But we don't think she has the ability to kill a team of scavengers. Temporarily seal off this incident. The Holy Axe Cross Society has already detected it. Starting today, the martyrs have entered a state of secrecy. If anyone violates this, internal clean-up will be carried out. Also, time is running out in Portland. Get everyone ready, if you miss this time, you'll have to wait another 700 years. So, if anyone obstructs the plan, think about the consequences for yourself. The group quickly disappeared into the night, as if nothing had happened. The next day, Lu Xiao was awakened by a hurried knocking on the door. Opening the door, I saw a middle-aged man wearing a tattered jacket, anxiously waiting with a package. Stephen, also known as the rookie treasure hunter who collaborates with Lu Xiao. Open the door and let the other person in. Lu Xiao impatiently threw him a bottle of beer. Where's the thing? Here, Stephen quickly handed over the package in his hand. I am looking at Lu Xiao's store. The decoration of this store is actually average. Lu Xiao has not put in a lot of effort to manage it. Just used as a facade. But for Stephen, a store in this location is not something he dares to think of. Seeing this, he couldn't help but feel a hint of warmth in his eyes. On the other side, at the moment when Lu Xiao opened the package, his body trembled slightly, but then he suppressed the abnormality in his body, speaking with a normal expression. It's this thing, a head. Stephen was already anxious at the time. Lu, this is not an ordinary human head. Look at this container, the patterns on it should be some kind of seal rune. I am a professional treasure hunter. This thing definitely has a background. You should know, this was obtained from the church cemetery on the other side of DC. That church, although not large, has a history of over 200 years. Think about it, isn't the combination of historic churches, cemeteries, and sealed skulls attractive enough? Stephen rubbed his hands excitedly as he spoke. Lu Xiao noticed that his hands trembled slightly, and his eyes were also slightly congested. It is clearly a state of addiction. Lu Xiao is not interested in churches with a 200-year-long history. Every time I hear this statement, I even feel a bit amused. But there's no way, that's the fact of this country. Tell me about that church, where is it located specifically? On the border between Washington and Idaho, in a small town called Sleepy Valley. Seeking follow-up reading, end of this chapter. Chapter 9. Value of 15,000. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Value of 15,000. The name Sleepy Valley suddenly brightened Lu Xiao's mind. However, he remained calm on the surface. It looks a bit interesting. How much do you plan to take? We're old friends, Lu. Can you give us a quote? As soon as Stephen spoke, Lu Xiao knew that he himself was not confident either. 2,000. Fuck. I knew you looked honest, but there's no more cunning businessman than you. 2,000, this is the current price, take a look at this. Stephen had a smug expression on his face that I had anticipated. Then he took out a flashlight and shone it on the person's face. Through the blurry glass, the light pierced straight into the face of the human head. The next second, the head suddenly opened its eyes. Even Lu Xiao was startled by the scene before him. Huh, you see. This is where this thing truly has value. This thing is alive. Can you imagine it? It only has one head, sealed in the church cemetery, but this thing is still alive. It must be such a powerful dark magic. What a powerful living dead person. In my opinion, this thing should go to an underground auction. The reason why we appear here is because we are friends. I have brought you the best goods, you need to give me a reasonable price. Stephen pressed his trembling hand while excitedly speaking. Okay, for the sake of driving overnight for 8 hours, 5,000. For a moment, Lu Xiao saw a glimmer of excitement in Stephen's eyes. But soon he forcefully concealed it. 5,000. This is a completely black magic item. Do you think it's worth 5,000? 20,000. This is the lowest price I can offer based on our years of friendship. We only knew each other for 6 months. Okay, 18,000, it can't be any less. 15,000. Lu Xiao calmly negotiated. Stephen suddenly stood up and stared fixedly at Lu Xiao. But in the end, we compromised. 15,000 is fine, but I need cash. I'll give it now. No problem. As Lu Xiao spoke, he turned around and took out $15,000 in cash from the inner room, placing it in front of Stephen. Stephen pushed the head in his hand to Lu Xiao, then grabbed the money on the table without even saying goodbye, and hurriedly left the antique shop. So, this is your true face. Sell these strange things. No wonder you're not surprised to see Lucy like that. Anna's voice came from behind. Lu Xiao turned around and found herself the only one. Lucy should still be sleeping. Perhaps it is due to years of sudden relaxation of wishes. She has been very drowsy lately. However, according to Henry's words, this is a good phenomenon that is beneficial for her physical recovery. So, neither Lu Xiao nor Anna usually wakes her up. Almost so. Also, to correct it, Lucy's experience can be considered bizarre even in my world. Those people may be even more dangerous than we imagine. So, don't take it lightly. I know, Anna said as she walked over. Standing at the table, looking at the withered head. Perhaps after experiencing the massacre at the villa, she is now very brave. Faced with this thing, there was no trace of fear. What is this, a zombie head? So it seems that in the villa, the ghosts you mentioned are also true. Why can't I see them? Believe me, not being able to see those things is a kind of luck. You wouldn't really want to see that world. Also, this is not a zombie. Lu Xiao said, pulling his head up to him and carefully examining it. And as the head approached itself, the high cold system gave feedback. B.level collectible, the head of the Death Knight. Pseudo, I inexplicably obtained the second collection item. And it still directly spans to level B. This even made Lu Xiao not react for a moment. But soon he calmed down. Although there is a fake word hanging behind it. But this thing is undoubtedly very powerful. Even a head has a B.level rating. If it's the entire Death Knight, at least one A.level. The complete Death Knight Lu Xiao is temporarily hesitant to consider. He now has a rough idea of the origin of this thing. If nothing unexpected happens, this should be the head of the Death Knight from Sleepy Valley. Lu Xiao remembers that it was sealed in a church cemetery. And with the passage of time, the church that guarded the seal had long declined. There is only one wizard with magic left to guard. That guy is also a half-hearted person. If he missed one aspect in the drama, he was hacked by the Death Knight. Lu Xiao speculated that the reason why the head was called fake was because the Death Knight in the Sleeping Valley should not be one of the legendary 4 Knights of the Apocalypse. At best, it's just a touch of edge. The 4 Knights of Sleepy Valley were created by a demon god named Moro himself. That guy is the gatekeeper of Purgatory. I have been watching the door for a long time, and I want to expand the gate a bit. So, we are constantly trying to make Purgatory invade the human world. For this, he recruited various dark creatures and even pieced together a apocalyptic 4 Knights himself. The entire process was made to look presentable. However, there were not many waves in the end. But the reason it was defeated was because it was calculated by another higher-level deity. That one has chosen 2 witnesses on Earth. That is, the Sleepy Valley, through a series of backhand arrangements. Lightly and directly cracked the plan of the Moro god. Even killed this half-hearted demon god directly. However, Lu Xiao is not a witness. Not within the protection range of the big shots. The strongest means is to become an undead zombie. This immortality is only for ordinary people. He had no doubt that even the half-hearted Death Knight could definitely chop himself to death with one axe. In the series, that guy's axe has shown more than one slaying characteristic. Lu Xiao didn't think that Jason's immortality could counter his killing. Looking at the head in front of him, Lu Xiao hesitated for a moment, then reached out to open the container and took out the withered head. With his right hand pressed on his head, Lu Xiao connected to his own system. He wants to see if he can draw a skill from this thing. Lu Xiao is not sure if it is all his collectibles that he can extract skills from. The system has not provided an explanation. The system quickly responded. He is unable to extract any abilities. Lu Xiao was somewhat disappointed, but also had a feeling that he should have felt that way. After all, this thing is incomplete, just a head. It is estimated that we need to obtain a complete Death Knight in order to extract skills. However, although skills cannot be extracted, but collectors can use their abilities. When he carried the head of the Death Knight, will gain some of the power of the Death Knight. New book, seeking recommendations, monthly pass, follow. Up reading, end of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Tour of Portland. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 10. The Tour of Portland. Lu Xiao's current field of vision presents a grayish-white color. As far as the eye can see, countless wandering souls float above the entire city. This is the perspective of the Death Knight, which is very reasonable. There is only one head left, and there are too many things to do, so we can only take a look. However, the effect of death vision is actually far more than just seeing dead spirits. Lu Xiao noticed that when he looked at living people, he could see the faint mist on their bodies. It's like being lifeless. Some people are many, while others are few. Unfortunately, this ability cannot be used much. Even carrying the head of the Death Knight, Lu Xiao could only barely look for about a minute. Then you will feel tired all over. This ability consumes the energy of the whole body. The position is higher, far from being comparable to Jason's half-hearted immortal body. In theory, his abilities are good, but in fact, Lu Xiao is not very happy. The main limitation is that this ability is too great. Think about it, to use this ability, you have to run around with a person's head on your back. But thinking about Lu Xiao feels uncomfortable all over. He's not a pervert, this matter is really a bit difficult to handle. In the evening, Stephen, who was feeling refreshed, surprisingly returned to Lu Xiao's shop. Can it be that you still hid a piece of goods and didn't sell it? Lu Xiao asked as he looked at the other person with a satisfied expression on his face. No, it's really not there anymore. It took me several nights to get that one thing done. I'm here to reveal some information to you. Tell me about it. After learning that this guy had been to the Sleeping Valley, Lu Xiao also began to pay a little attention to the news brought by this guy. Do you know the person Dreyfus? I have a bit of an impression. The emerging billionaire from DC. But I remember he started out in high-tech and information technology. That's right, but this is just a superficial persona. This guy is a treasure hunter behind the scenes. He's the kind of big shot. When I was active in Washington, I heard a colleague say it. All the treasure hunters in the entire state of Washington work for him. He collects treasures of all categories, and there is no limit. Some people say that he is searching for the legendary elixir of eternal life, or the philosopher's stone, eternal life. It will always be eternal. After reaching a certain level, all wealthy people will start pursuing this. However, there are many legends about the philosopher's stone. Which one does he pursue? I don't know about that. I don't think anyone knows either. It's just that some people in the circle have already inferred some information. Dreyfus may have already determined that the philosopher's stone is located around Washington. How about land? Are you interested in making a decision? I have connections, you have resources. We too practice and intercept Dreyfus before he does. How about getting the philosopher's stone first? That's the stone of the wise. No matter whether its effect is as powerful as legendary. As long as it is confirmed to be true. We can all become legends overnight. Stephen finally demonstrated his true intentions at this point. This guy is probably overindulging, with a burst of confidence, and wants to do something big. But Lu Xiao knows. If something like the sage's stone really comes out, that must be a bloody storm. Don't mention Stephen, even if it's me now, getting caught up in it can only be the result of having no bones left. Stephen left feeling depressed. There is a kind of ambition that, before it can be fully realized, dies prematurely. Why don't you agree to him? I feel like you're clearly tempted. Anna appeared behind Lu Xiao and asked softly. I'm tempted. That's the Philosopher's Stone, and there are elements of that in all the famous mythological stories around the world. If anyone can find one that's true, it's enough to influence the entire underground world. But that place is really unlucky. I can't get close to Washington. At least not for now. Unable to get close to Washington. That's right, although it sounds strange. But my power is essentially a dark force. The founding fathers of this country recruited a large number of wizards to work for them when building downtown Washington. Many of them were also experts in runes and magic. They installed a complete defense rune system in the sewers of Washington and its surrounding areas. Any supernatural force, especially dark creatures, will generate strong repulsion and even damage. Lu Xiao vaguely remembered, not to mention someone at the level of Jason. In the episode of Sleepy Valley, the Death Knights cannot get close to the core area of Washington. Your world is really complex. But it also reinforces one of my thoughts. What's the idea? Lu Xiao said solemnly. I'm taking Lucy away. But I know there's danger. But so far, it seems that those people have entered a latent state. And when it comes to danger, don't you think Lucy might be even more dangerous by your side? Lu Xiao was speechless. That's right, my own world is indeed an unbearable dangerous world for ordinary people. Okay, do you have a destination? I have an idea. How is Portland? The climate and environment there are the most suitable for Lucy's physical and mental cultivation. Portland is a good choice. Let me take you there. I happen to be there to handle some business matters. 3 people can leave as soon as they say. Before leaving, Lu Xiao hesitated for a moment before finally putting on the head of the Death Knight. There's no way, I only have 2 collectibles of my own. Although it may not seem very useful, what if it comes in handy? The store is locked directly. I originally wanted able to keep an eye on the shop. But Lu Xiao knew that as long as he was not there, the old man would definitely lock his shop directly. Not even a minute without watching. Portland is known as one of the most livable cities in the United States. The environment and climate here are particularly suitable for vacation and cultivation, and the pace of life is relatively slow. 3 people had just got off the car when a man and a woman welcomed them. Hi Lu, long time no see. Long time no see, Nick, Juliet. The guests are Nick and Juliet, the male and female protagonists in the American drama Green. As a traveler, although Lu Xiao has not completed several collections in recent years. But not everything is right either. A protagonist like Nick has already made friends through various means. Just the early self, lacking the ability to intervene in these things. So, there was no action. And now, he has initially gained the ability to protect himself. Naturally, one should start trying to take the initiative to cause trouble. After all, he already has golden fingers, and if he doesn't work hard, he won't be able to forgive himself. The storyline on Nick's body was locked in by Lu Xiao a long time ago. One is that his current combat power is sufficient to deal with the vast majority of Wesen creatures. Another thing is that there are many things on this storyline that meet the standards of collectibles. New book, Seeking Follow. Up reading, monthly pass, recommended pass, end of this chapter.